Stephen, we're talking about all these doctors are saying everybody who comes to my practice is going to remove gluten from their diet. So you think, okay, I'm going to take out bread, I'm going to take out pizza, I'm going to take out beer. But what are some of the more hidden sources of gluten that people maybe don't think about right off the bat that they'd have to be careful with and remove?
Anything that comes in a box. I mean, that's a great question. I think, I'm not like a food additives expert, but essentially I think when you're eating real foods, it's not coming from a box, you're going to be avoiding gluten. I think that if you're trying to do paleo and do processed paleo, that you're always going to have issues, whether it's gluten or it's something else inside that processed manufactured food item. The problem is just, with engineering background, the problem is just the manufacturing process and whole-scale mass-producing food. It's just a tough thing to do without contaminating it and contributing to issues. So a lot of high-quality paleo products that I eat while I'm traveling right now and hoping to keep my health high. But I think in general, every time you're sourcing your food from a package that's allowed a certain shelf life, you're asking for a higher level of risk. So I think that's where you have to start, just real food.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Jennifer, do you want to add to that? Maybe even bouncing off the idea of the gluten contamination. Is that something you have to worry about as well?
Absolutely. So ladies, and actually gentlemen, anything you put on your lips, you better check that there is no gluten in there. Everything, all of your lipsticks, and if you've eaten, you've mixed things in the past, you got to get rid of all of it. And depending on your sensitivity, you may have to go to makeup. Like I can't use gluten in my shampoo. My scalp gets really gross, and I can't figure out why, but it just does. But the majority of clients that I've worked with, the problem is there is an issue with contamination in food because the FDA ruling only they limit it at 20 parts per million, which is a small, very tiny amount, but it's enough that for some people it still may bother them, and there's an argument about how much is too much. Most certifications in the United States through GIG and the NFCA, they actually are lower, so it's 10 parts per million, 5 parts per million. But the big problem is that people don't realize that how they prep their food. So if you make your wife's sandwich, she eats gluten, and you don't wash your hands and then go and make your food's now contaminated. You've got to get rid of your cutting board, your pasta strainer, any pots and pans that have Teflon in them that have scrapes in them, plastic containers, get rid of them. You have to replace a lot of things in your kitchen because you can't see those particles of gluten that are lodged places. And if you have a serious issue, if you have really bad celiac disease or you've got some other autoimmune issue where you've got to take this out 100%, the kitchen is the first place to begin, but then you've got to go to the bathroom and you've got to look at your toothpaste, your mouthwash, your hairspray, because you inhale the alcohol that's sprayed into the air, and a lot of times that's made from glutinous grains.
I am probably wearing so much gluten right now. Those are excellent points, though, and that's kind of the hidden sources, the things that people don't look at, and if you're exquisitely sensitive, those are things you need to pay attention to.